Hey all my YouTubers, this is Star with H&S Designs Now, and if you can kind of see, and if you read the title of the video, I'm going to show you how I made this little Santa Claus piece, except for I'm not going to use Santa Claus on this one. I'm going to use this little cute little penguin, a present and a little snowflake. They're stickers. That's what this one was. And it's hard to see, but I got a little snowflake in that one too. And if you can tell, I know it's really hard to see it, but there is a cute design in there, and it makes me think a lot of a snowflake. So that's kind of why I wanted to use this, because I don't have any like coaster type molds to be able to use to make ornaments or coasters or whatever. And so I thought, well, I've got some stuff on the way, but until then I've got this. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And I have tried it before. Here is one of the tries that I did. This part is really cute. I think it looks really good. That part not so much, just because just the colors just bleh. Anyway, and then I kind of tried this one as a little scene, but because of this design that's on there, I didn't want to cover that up, so I tried to have it come from that way, and just, yeah, it looks okay, just, yeah. And I did put some little bitty, because I've got this little bitty resin mold right here, so that's where the snowman came from. And if you can see really closely, right here and right here is some larger snowflakes. You can kind of see them in there. Anyway, but yeah, they didn't, it blended too much. So this one turned out really good though. I literally just demolded this one, so I still have to clean it up and everything, and dome it over and everything, but it turned out really good. You can really see that design very well, but yet that gives a nice clean, solid look to it. You can see it's a fairly thick one right here, but I did put some silver glitter right here in the center, and then I put Santa Claus over it, and I'm like, well, oh well. You live, you learn. And it kind of does look like this star is kind of peeking out, and it is just the tiniest bit, but with a dome over, once I sand and clean up the edges and then dome it, it won't be visible, or you won't feel it at all. So I wanted to recreate something like this with these, okay, for you guys. And I know that there are other tutorials out there showing this, showing how to do something like this. I just kind of wanted to give my spin on it. So for right now, this is the resin that I will be using. This right here is all that I have left in UV resin. I've seen this done with two-part epoxy. I am not patient enough to use two-part epoxy right now. So I'm going to use some UV resin. And in between each curing layer, I am going to cut out the curing time, because I'm gonna really want this to cure really, really well. So I'm just going to start off. You do want to make sure your mold is clean, doesn't have any leftover glitter or color or anything like that. And I always start with the outer edge, and then I just kind of fill in a little bit here. I try not to do too much, but enough, because you can always add more, whereas it's really hard to take it away. So I do that, and then you're going to take a toothpick or a stir stick or something, whatever it is you've got. And you want to make sure that you get your resin moved around the whole thing. Now the thing is, with the bottom of this mold having that design, it is kind of like I'm hitting bumps, and I can feel it, and that's part of the design of it. So I just kind of have to keep my toothpick raised up just a little bit. Now with this particular resin right here, it is a good bit thicker, so it can get bubbles in it much easier, so they are harder to get out. So if you happen to decide to get this UV resin, please know that I've learned very thin layers are very, very good. So I'm trying to get some of these bubbles out. trying to get some of the bubbles to kind of dissipate. Because some bubbles are going to be okay. The little bitty, tiny bitty ones, you know, you're not going to be able to help. But the larger ones you want to try to pop so that it looks good. And I've got some more. Usually the toothpick that I use, I will keep a Post-it note that's fairly thick, so it's not sitting directly on my table. And then I just make sure that there's not too much on the toothpick itself, and that way it doesn't drip off, but I can reuse this toothpick until I get something on it. So just trying to get that off. Good grief. Okay, don't want to go. So go back over it. I like to use this candle lighter because it does have that nice long reach, and I'm not going to burn my fingers. And I'm going to call that pretty good on that. There's still some micro bubbles in there. I don't know if you can see them or not. That's a piece of glitter on the bottom. So, yeah. And one thing I do want to do is I want to add some thick glitter. I have some fairly thick glitter from Glitter Hippo, which actually I had ordered them from, what was it? SolarColorDust.com is where I actually ordered them from. And it was actually, what I'd actually ordered was what was called Chameleon Glitter. But this is what I was sent, so hey, you know, I'm happy. I'm cool. I'm cool. I think I'm going to add a little bit of this mermaid's tail. I think that would be a pretty nice looking one. So you see, I kind of have a plan, but it's not a definite plan. If you've watched my videos before, you know how I am. You've seen how I am. Sometimes I just kind of make things up as I go. That's just me. I don't want a lot, so the amount that I'm getting is just fine. And given this is not as thick of a glitter as what I've seen others do, which is what I was kind of going for, but it's thick enough that it will work. All right. And now, let's see. All right. Make sure I knock that off. All right. And even though I have already popped all the bubbles and stuff, I do want to kind of move this around a little bit, get it you know, spread out a little bit better, because it is kind of clumpy in some spots. Let's see. Get a little bit more over here. All right, and that's pretty good. And so, okay, so now since that's there and it's not wanting to come off, I'm going to go ahead and toss this toothpick so that I don't accidentally reuse it. So now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cure this. And when I get done curing it, I'm probably going to cure it because my UV light works as long as 99 seconds. I'm probably going to cure this 2 or 3 rounds. And when I get done, I'll meet you back here. Alright, so I'm back. I let this run in my UV light for, I think, 3 or 4 cycles. I kind of lost track. So now I'm going to put down another thin layer. And again, I'm going to start with the edges. And I'm going to fill a little bit in the center. Alright. There we go. Alright, take my toothpick. Make sure I get all the spots filled in. Excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat. Let's see, and that's pretty good. Just go around the edges. All right. Now this layer won't really matter if it has bubbles in it because I will be adding some different type of glitter. Okay, I had purchased some glitters at Walmart yesterday that look to me a lot like tinsel, kind of, and they are yeah, they are holographic glitters. I got one in blue and I got one in silver, so they are long thin pieces, and you can see they're, oh my god, so that really made me think of Christmas, you know. I almost got a green too, but I only had so much money. So with this one, luckily it does have with both of them, really, they have the spout and they have the little sections right there, so I don't want to use too much. I think I'm only going to leave one hole open. I'm going to try to get just a little bit around the edges, kind of like I did the other one, the one with the Santa. But this one I don't want to be quite as thick with how far deep it is. So I'm just trying to be really careful. And I would use my tweezers for this, but I don't know how well that will work. So that's why I'm just doing it this way. But by all means, if you have more confidence to use yours than I do with mine, have at it. So I used that one, and now I'm going to use some of the blue. Okay, and just open a little bit. And I'm going to try not to cover up too much of the silver with the blue. I just kind of want it a blend, so to speak. But I am going to go ahead and completely cover the center of it. And I think I'm going to do just a little further out. These are some big containers. They're 3 ounces. And it's just like, wow, that's a lot of glitter. That's a lot of glitter. And I usually don't keep too much glitter. I have some little bitty things of glitter, but usually I don't keep like any. So now again, I'm going to pop this back into my light for a few cycles, let it cure pretty good, and then we'll come back for the next layer. Alright guys, so this right here is on the last round of light. This is the 4th round I've put it on, and every time that I do put it in a new time, I do make sure that I'll take it out, I'll turn it, and then I'll pop it back in. That way, hopefully it gets an even amount of light on it and all that kind of good stuff. Now, one thing I did want to say while this is curing, I did go ahead and I picked out what stickers I wanted to use. These are some puffy stickers, if you can kind of see that a little bit, yeah. And all I did, it still has the plastic on the back of it. I have not peeled this off because I wanted to leave that plastic on there. It makes it much easier for me to handle. So I don't know about you guys, but that's what I have found that works. I have used scissors. I have also used my X-Acto knife, especially for these smaller ones. This X-Acto knife worked absolutely great. Now, if you've got something that, like, when I cut Mr. Santa out here, I kind of left some of the spaces open, like right over here and under his arm, between his legs and stuff. I left that plastic there because I used my scissors, but I decided to use the X-Acto knife on these, and it did much better, cut much cleaner, much just better. You know, just much better. So there are options for you. I know somebody on my last resin video suggested that I get some curved nail scissors, and I haven't had a chance to, hadn't had the money to and everything, but just know that that is another option. So I want to see how this is, and okay, that's good. So I can kind of put this off like to the side and put the other things like on it. Okay, just wanted to get a good idea. Okay, so another thin layer of resin. And yes, this is getting thick, even though it's not too thick yet, but it's getting thick. You know, hey, that happens. It's going to do that with UV or with epoxy, either way. So with this one, I'm not going to get right up on the edge. I'm just going to get next to it so that it hopefully does not leave a lip. Because on my other ones, I've had a lip on there and I didn't really want one. So I'm going to try to avoid the lippage from here on. I'm going to see how well it's going to dome being in a mold and not using the entire thickness of that mold. So I'm going to spread my resin around. I'm spreading it in the middle first so that hopefully there will be enough. Now I'm just going to spread it to the edges, but again, I don't want it up on the edge. I don't want it to make a lip. And this is an experiment. I've not done this exactly before. Most of the time I do get my resin all the way up to the edge. So, you know, you're seeing how it's going with me. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody else in the videos that I've watched. I don't think I've seen anybody do that exactly. I'm just going to tilt it, make sure. Yep, it looks good. All right, so I do use my tweezers to handle as I put it in. So that way. And I just try to lower it fairly evenly. Let it get a good contact. And it does kind of move off the resin, but that's okay, because you can't really do anything about that. Ugh, come here. All right, here we go. All right, so I want this one to be over here. Okay, it doesn't much matter if it's like straight or crooked or whatever. If you want it to be straight or you want it to be crooked, let it be how you want it. Oh, well. It's going places. And I'm going to set this one right up here. And one good thing about that plastic that I left on there is because it is clear, hopefully it will just kind of blend in. And which it did really good. It did blend in really well on this. You can't even see that plastic, you know. I mean, you got to really flip and look for it. But, I mean, I don't see the plastic, so I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit on the edges around these. Just a little bit more. I'm not going to do much because I don't want the resin to get too thick and then it's going to have a hard time to cure. Just one little bit. Alright. So I'm not trying to cover these up yet. I just want to get enough to where they're going to stay put. Alright, and I'm just going to go ahead and scrape that little bit off. I hate wasting even a drop, but you do what you got to do sometimes. So I'm going to let this kind of level off and sit for just a few minutes before I pop it back under my light. Then I'm going to cure it, and then I'll meet you back here. Alright, so it is done curing for the 4th time. And again, like I said, you know, I'll pop it in there like this, let it go, pull it out, pop it in there like this, let it go, pull it out, you know, all the way around. And that way, hopefully it's got a nice even cure and it's cured completely. We shall see. This is the way I test. And that seems to be pretty good. That seems pretty good, yeah. Now, oddly enough, the sticker kind of rose up over here. I don't know if you can really see it. But, yeah, it's got the reversible lip. But that's okay, because we are going to put one more layer of resin down. And this is just to help even it out really well and everything. And, you know, get it looking really good. Now, this layer may be a little bit thicker, because I do need to at least somewhat cover the stickers up. So I'm going to start with here kind of in the middle. because I do want it to cover it up. And again, I'm not going directly to the edges because I want it domed instead of having a lip. So this time I am pouring resin over the top of the little penguin and on top of the others. Alright. And let that get off. Okay. Oh, there we go. Alright, and so now I definitely want to make sure, at this point sometimes I worry about bubbles, sometimes I don't worry about bubbles, it just kind of depends. If I find bubbles, what I try to do is I attempt to actually just kind of move them off to the side. If I can pop them with my lighter, great. If I can't, I don't want it like right here in the middle, I want it kind of off to the side, just so it's not quite as visible. So unfortunately I'm seeing right now, right over here, I can see the lip of the plastic, which it makes me sad, but there's not too much that I can do about that at this point because that part is completely cured. Had I realized that before I cured it, I probably could have fixed it, but it's too late. Oh well. That's life. I am still seeing a few little bubbles, and I'm actually going to try running my lighter over it. I'm going to move it up and over a little bit. And that worked on a couple of them. Yay. Alright, so that's good. So looks pretty good. And I'm actually going to get just a hair more, actually, instead of doing that. I'm going to kind of move this, because it's still going to have a lip, like I was talking about before, but it just hopefully will not have as much of a lip. And I realized right there's a spot I didn't get any resin in there. And you do want to make sure you get all the little nooks and crannies filled. Make sure, yep. Alright, and that's pretty good. Alright, so now at this point, again, I'm going to kind of let it set, let it kind of settle really good. Hopefully it won't have too much of a lip on the outside because I'm hoping that that will be the last layer that I need. But we shall see. So again, just going to let it settle. Then I'm going to pop it under my light 4 times and then we will return. Alright, so I'm back. This thing has pretty well cured. I see I have a good dip right here. Oh, no. So it didn't, apparently it didn't do what I wanted it to because, yeah, especially with that dip. But that's right here where I had it before, and we might be able to fix that. We shall see. See if we can. Lord only knows. And, you know, if you don't have to do like I'm doing. You can always just kind of leave it and sand it down. Yeah, there's a pretty good dip right there too. But as for me, I do want to try to get it about as even as I possibly can, so that I won't have to do as much sanding as possible, or as little sanding as possible, I should say. Okay, get that to even out. Get that to even out. And since I'm only filling in, I'm not doing all of it, I'm going to try to kind of get it to smooth over and look pretty good, which will also require some letting it kind of settle. That does look okay, so that's alright. It's still a little puffy right there, but I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be fine. So from here, I'm going to let it settle. I'm going to pop it back under my light again, one more time real quick. And then we're going to come back and we're going to try to demold this and see how it goes. Alright guys, so we are back yet again. I let it cure under the lamp for like 5 or 6 sessions just to make sure that it is good and hopefully cured very well. I'm going to test it with the toothpick first. Does not seem tacky from the toothpick. Let's do the finger test. And I kind of hate doing this, but it is still a little bit tacky. That's what I was afraid of. What I will try is getting my, it's the propyl alcohol, and getting a Q-tip out. And I'm just going to dip my Q-tip in the alcohol. I do not re-dip my Q-tip once I've done this. And while it's still in here, I'm going to go ahead, wipe it down really good, hope and pray that this does and will take off the tackiness. I've been told it does. I've tried it on one and it somewhat worked. So maybe I just did something wrong. But you see, I'm just going over it really good, multiple directions, all over. All right. And I know something that I just now forgot to do. With this being a clear mold, usually when I'm using a clear mold, especially with UV resin, I do go ahead and I flip it over so that some of the light will really good hit that. It should be okay though. So I would suggest to you that that you do that once you've got, when you know that it should pretty well be cured, flip it over just to make sure you get a little extra light to that back. So we're going to go ahead and demold this. And if it's still tacky, what I will do is I will just set it in my windowsill for tomorrow, and that way what little bit of UV light comes through, because it's cloudy here lately here in Tennessee, hopefully that UV light will help to cure it. And see, I'm not really a big fan of these hard plastic molds. I would rather have these silicone molds because it's so much easier and they're so flexible. It's just so easy to get it out. But whereas with these plastic ones, they tend to want to give you a little bit of a headache sometimes. And like with that popping, I feel like I'm breaking something. All right, so you can kind of see from right there. Sorry, I know I'm shaking the camera. Here we go. Here we go. Making some headway here. Making some headway here. Got that. Here. Come on. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. I want to see how it looks. Get out. Get out. There it goes. All right. So good. I don't have to touch it. Well, I'm going to have to touch it, you know, but I didn't have to touch it just to get it out. So you see how clean that mold is, so I can reuse it. Happy with that. So, here comes do or die time. Here comes do or die time. It's really not bad. It's really not tacky. I'm happy. Yay! And you can still see the design. Now given, there you go. Right there. There's the light. So you can still see it right here like this. That is awesome. Kind of went a little weird right here for some reason. I don't quite understand why, but you can see, yeah, there's spots to clean up, but overall, you know, that really is not that bad. So that's not much cleanup that I'm going to have to do for it. I think that's really, really cute. So I see, yeah, kind of getting some fingerprints and stuff in there, but that's okay. I'll clean that up. And once I get the edges cleaned up, I'll probably end up putting another layer just to kind of dome it over, make sure it looks good. I'll screw a hole and put something to hang it on, and this will be a really cute little ornament. I'm happy with this, guys. And I'm so glad that I shared it with you. I hope that you learned a lot from this video. I hope it helped you to figure out how to make some cute ornaments or jewelry or whatever. If you didn't quite have what you were looking for, and just using what you have. So, until the next video, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so right down there. Also, go ahead and hit that bell notification icon so that with any of my next following videos, it will notify you. And if you're interested in, I don't know, sponsoring a video, just get a hold of me, send me a message. If you are interested in purchasing anything, you can catch me over on Facebook at HNS Designs Now. You can like my page over there, follow me, purchase anything, even place a custom order if you want to. So, until the next video, you guys, peace out, and much love, and we shall see you later. Bye-bye.